Hey everyone, um, I'm here with a new video. Just gonna be me talking and playing Solitaire, as you can see down there. It's one of my favorite games. Used to speedrun it for a while, but I'm gonna try and slow down. I'm gonna try and talk about stuff. Today I was kind of thinking of talking about, having activities that are relaxing for you. Kind of the importance of that. Kind of have selfish reasons for doing this. Maybe it will be informative for you. I think part of me is hoping that if I kind of enunciate some of these things, I'll actually put them into practice. But we'll see. In any case, doing things that are relaxing. This has always been kind of tricky for me. Mostly because I think I'm just kind of really bad at cutting myself off. Oh, this is too much, I should do something else, or I'm getting too invested in this, to the point where it's not relaxing. Because you think about playing games, and it's like, the point, for most people is to have fun when you play a game. But I realized a while ago that all the games that I play, basically all the games I play a more challenging variant, be it a randomizer, or I play to go fast, like a speed run. There are very few games that I play that one, I've never played before, and two, I'm just kind of going through the motions. There's very few games like that I play. I just kind of play the same 3 games. It's just about me trying to get better, or go faster, or whatever, however getting better is defined. And so that's not relaxing. It struck me a while ago that doesn't count, as like some kind of relaxing activity. Like, oh yeah, let me just unwind by also doing something that requires immense focus. Let me unwind from something that requires focus with something else that requires focus. So it doesn't work, right? And oftentimes just kind of stress me out more. And Solitaire is one of those games. Normally I'm trying to rip through as fast as I can. And I get kind of mad if a seed doesn't work out the way I want it to. But I'm just kind of trying to take it slower here, maintain my train of thought, be okay with a seed if it's bad. Because ultimately, I think we as people, maybe I'm just kind of projecting here, but I think we need more activities that are that kind of can go wrong, and it can be okay, like it doesn't, if, say for instance, if I didn't finish the seed, instead of being upset about it, I think ultimately for an activity to be relaxing, you kind of have to mess up, and you have to, it has to be okay, it has to not be the end of the world, it has to not linger in your mind, and there are 2 parts to that really. At a basic level, I'd say that there's the design of the activity, and then on the part of the player, how they're pursuing the activity. For instance, Solitaire, great game because in terms of relaxation, because you can go whatever pace you want. There's this clock, and you get a score for going faster, I believe. But apart from that, it's Solitaire, right? And Solitaire in real life actually is kind of deceiving. Maybe my arms are just weak. I think they are, but like moving the cards around, like lifting up the stacks, and like reaching over the pile to get to the draw pile in real life is it actually gets tiring on the arms. You can try it for yourself if you don't believe me. I promise. If you're a weak arm guy like me, you'll be like, oh man, there's a lot after a while. But yeah, so unlike that, in this version, very minimal movement, If you want, you can press Control and A, and that will, which you see me doing, it's the auto collect. Just puts the cards in the pile, eliminates that what minimal work was left in just having a digital version with just that simple command. So that's pretty nice. And yeah, you can just kind of keep doing seeds forever. There's no incentive really besides score. There's no danger. This is a game that's designed well. There's no rush. Designed well in the sense to be relaxing. Yeah. Look at this. Like, you can do the cloud background. There's one that's like palm trees for the cards. It's very nice. But then there's the other element, right? How do I pursue it? Normally I'm trying to speedrun this, do it as fast as I can. So I'm going, just clicking around all over the place, hoping that something fits. And it's frustrating if it doesn't quite work. Like here, maybe I'm just being silly, but okay, wait, never mind. This is a bad example because I think I can solve this. Okay, yeah, it was a bad example, but if I'm going fast and it's the difference between that a few seconds, if there's a few seconds between my PB and the game that I'm playing, and it's caused by something like that, or it doesn't collect neatly right off the bat, then I'm going to be a little frustrated. But it happens. And in a relaxing setting, it happens. And that's why I say that the player's perspective is I would say it's just as important as the design, if not more so. I think that perspective and goal can overcome bad design choices. You can still have a lot of fun with a game that's poorly made if you are approaching it as such. And I guess that brings the importance of background knowledge, right? Like if I'm just playing random games, this is a bad example because by the title alone you wouldn't pick this to relax. But if I pick like Unfair Mario or something to relax, right? And I die to invisible block, spike trap in like 5 seconds. That's actually just a good example of good design because I should know just from the title that I'm gonna have a bad time, right? And so I shouldn't really be upset when it happens because I feel like the title is plenty warning. But let's say you had a game that doesn't give you such a heads up. A game that is poorly designed and is kind of masquerading as a game that's well designed, then you can get thrown for a loop because you come into it wanting to give it your all, and just because you want to give it your all doesn't mean that you're necessarily trying your absolute hardest, or you're upset if the result is different. It's not as you don't just beat the game, it's definitely the case that you can give your all and not succeed and be okay with that. You have to moderate how much energy you think is appropriate for the task that you're currently doing. So for a game, it doesn't work out, it's just a game, right? If you're trying to get a promotion at your job and you don't get it, it's a little bit harder to swallow because the stakes are higher, but it's just a game, right? In the case of a game and in the case of relaxing activities. So the best relaxing game is either one that well, first of all, you know what to expect, right? And the game kind of follows up with your expectations. Luckily, it's kind of easier to be informed about how a game's going to be these days, in terms of access to the internet, online reviews. You can see what other people are saying about a game. You can kind of sense the parts that are unfair before you play. And so when they come up, it'll be easier for them to wash over it. You can think back to the interview or to the review that someone left, and you can say, I remember this part, this was stupid, and then just kind of laugh at how stupid it is. And that could be relaxing, right? So yeah, design is important. Also, I would say more important is perception and knowledge of the game, and maybe even more important than that overall is attitude, right? Just in general, the way that one carries oneself in life, if you generally approach things as not the be all end all, whatever it may be, then it's going to be a lot easier to enjoy a wider variety of activities. It's going to be a lot easier to come to terms with how things are going in your life. I feel that it's very beneficial, and maybe I'm just envious of people like that, so I'm not thinking about the possible downsides. But yeah, currently it seems like a very good way to be. I'd say another angle as well is moderation. I think that any activity can become frustrating if done in excess, because kind of the longer that you partake in something, the more energy you put into it, right? And the more energy that you put into something, I think the more invested you become. And so I think an attitude that starts out as calm and collected can quickly transform, or over time can transform into an attitude that is less patient and less forgiving, under the pretense that you have now invested, I don't know what that just happened there, but that you have now invested a lot of time into the activity. And so the chemicals in your brain are kind of like, this is something important now. I think, which is a problem that I run into just by playing the same game over and over and over again. Because even if I wanted it to be relaxing, it's kind of hard to play something at a casual level at this point that you've played a million times. And I think that you kind of have to play it at a casual level for it to be more relaxing, at least at a level that's more casual than you might play it in terms of competition. But I don't know, maybe it's possible that people get in the flow state, right? And I think it also depends how rewarded they are for being in the flow state. Like, do they jump into the waves and then they immediately get rebuffed, or do they find some success and from that, like, find the motivation to continue onward? I mean, there are a lot of different ideas about a good relaxation activity. I mean, ultimately, you have to know yourself, you have to know your own attitudes, and you also have to know what you're getting yourself into, right? I was going to say jump in a tiger cage and wrestle a tiger, but that's not a realistic example. I wouldn't do knitting to relax. I don't know how to knit. I would not even know where to start. And so for that reason, I know that it wouldn't be a relaxing activity for me. So I would choose to do something else instead. Even though it's, designed to be in a way that can be done at any pace, there's not really any stakes, there's no risk really, it wouldn't be relaxing to me because I know that I don't know anything about that. So it just wouldn't be a good choice for me. So know yourself, know the activity, and I think that will make you happier when you're deciding to rely upon it to relax. I also think a change of setting is important, especially when separating like your work life. Again, I'm saying all this, but I practice none of this. And I say this hopefully so it will stick for me, but a separation of workspace in terms of mindset and like literally physical space, I think is super, super important. So for example, I work on the computer, and so this might not be the best, most relaxing activity. Maybe I could find something better. I don't currently know what that is, but something away from the computer, something outside, maybe something physical. But for example, if I worked moving bags all day, this might be perfect because it gives me the chance to sit down, gives me the chance to change gears, do something different than I'm normally doing, so I can kind of recharge those parts of my body that I've been using all day and do different motions, just really put the brain in a place that it hasn't been for a little while and allow it to regenerate a little bit, refresh. This is none of that because I'm moving the mouse and the keyboard all day and I'm looking at the screen all day. So this is not me getting out of my comfort zone at all, right? This is not me getting out of my work zone at all. It's the same spot. It's the same screen. It's the same chair. It's the same everything. This doesn't really help me in that sense. So again, not another reason why it might not be the best, most relaxing activity. And yeah, when I'm here, I can't help but think about work too, because again, it's the same place that I do work. So, host of problems. I would say, and I'll just say this for me, but just knowing myself a little bit, I would say that just because this is an activity that's easy to access, doesn't mean that it's relaxing, Just because I can kind of do it mindlessly for a long time doesn't mean that I'm relaxed by it. I would say that that's inaccurate. I'm kind of transfixed by it, because I just do it for a long time. But again, we talked about time investment. Another thing is in talking about separation is also balance, right? You don't want one sector, your relaxation or your work, to spill into the other. And when you do this for a relaxing activity for a long time, or you do work for a long time, you run the gambit of that happening. You run the risk of your life being thrown out of balance, which really stresses me out. And so it's hard to transition activities, I think, even more so when they occur in the same space, right? So I work in this spot, I do this, I do relaxation in this spot. You want me to switch from one to the other, you might say it should be easier because I'm just in the same place, but that just really it allows the denial to perpetuate. I think, like, I could work at any time. I just gotta switch over the tab and that's it. I'll be at work, I'll be working. But the reality is it's actually harder because on the other side of that coin, I don't really have to make any effort in one direction and I'll be just as close as I was before, So I can kind of keep that denial going with myself, like, oh, the work is just right there, like I'm just a little bit away from it. So at any time I could just switch over. I totally could. Which is why it's good to have the separation, because once you start making that investment and you start shifting gears, there's less incentive to go back to what you're doing because you've already done some work and you're already shifting gears mentally, and it's just good to have separation. I think even if you had like an office space, if you could afford this, you had an office space with a work computer and then you had like a gaming computer or something, like in a different setting, in a different room, different chair, all that, then I think even that might do it. But I'm not sure. I don't. Unfortunately, I can't perform that experiment. It is broke season, but yeah. I don't know. It would be interesting to. I'm curious if my productivity could change. Just by changing my setting, and changing the ways in which I relax. I think that it could. But there's always, sometimes I definitely stand in my own way. This is definitely one of those instances. The rationalizations also never end. It's like, well, why change it? I am already capable of doing some work, and like I could totally just do better if I wanted to. But I think that the longer that changes are kind of delayed and circumstances are just kind of settled for, the harder that it will ultimately be to change things. So yeah, so it's about all that I have to say on that topic, but hope you have a good rest of your day, rest of your night, however you're viewing this, whenever you're viewing this, and that you take care. Thanks.